I was miserable, energy low. I asked myself a question. I said, where will I be in 5 years if I don't make some changes? I'd be in 5 years, I'd be dead, plain and simple.
Thank you, everybody, for joining the Free Time Mastermind podcast. I have Stanley Bronstein with me and an amazing story of body transformation. But one thing I wanted to start with, Stanley, what was that moment for you that started your weight loss transformation?
Okay, that's known as rock bottom. And I don't think I hit rock bottom, but I was getting pretty close to it. Basically, I was getting ready to turn 50 years old. It was 17 years ago, 4 months before my 50th birthday. I was 320 pounds at the time. I wasn't at my max, which you can see in the picture here. I hadn't had a heart attack yet, hadn't had a stroke yet, knees hadn't given out yet, but everything hurt. I didn't feel good. I was miserable, energy low. And I sat there and I asked myself, I was laying in bed, I asked myself a question. I said, where will I be in 5 years if I don't make some changes? And I didn't like the answer because can you guess what the answer was?
Bad health or worse, I'm sure.
Dead. The answer was I'd be in 5 years, I'd be dead, plain and simple. It's cold, hard truth as it gets. And I didn't like that answer. And I said, this is ridiculous. I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting my opportunities. I'm not living up to my potential. I can be so much more than this. I mean, a very successful business career, both an attorney and a CPA. I did fine there. But I said, come on, this is ridiculous. I'm screwing around here. So I turned to my wife and I told her, I said, I'm cooked. Those are the words, I'm done. I said, I'm going to stop tolerating BS in my life. And the number one person I'm going to stop tolerating it from is myself. And the number two person is you. And just so you know, we're still married. Start exercising now. And my exercise of choice is going to be walking. And the reason I picked walking was you don't need any equipment. It's easy to do. You can do it practically anywhere. You can do it almost any time. I'm going to pick walking. So I said, I'm going to start doing that. And one of the very first things I did was I quit drinking alcohol. I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic, but I will definitely say I was drinking too much. But the whole point is to use the word pressure. I just did both. I quit eating red meat. I quit eating beef and pork, and I quit drinking soda pop. Out of those 2-liter bottles, I was drinking 3 of those a day.
Oh my God.
So I quit all of those all at the same time. And to be honest with you, is it harder to do it all at once? Yes and no. You don't have to do it all at once, but sometimes I think it's better to do what you call an addictive personality. I'm one of those guys, I tend to go all in. I did all those things and I started walking. And I had good days and I had bad days. Wasn't perfect. You don't have to be perfect, but the one thing I did right was that I kept going.
Walking was the primary physical activity, correct? And you still promote that as a good way to start.
I absolutely don't promote it. But when I started out, I had trouble walking a block or two. And that's how bad I was. And to show you the power of the mind and how I practice what I call constant and never-ending improvement. The goal is to be better today than you were yesterday, be better tomorrow than you were today. Beat yesterday. That's your goal. And I'm in year 17, getting ready to start year 18 of beating yesterday. And it's like compound interest in the bank, baby. It builds and it builds and it builds. Track my mileage. I track when I walk. Since that day, this is what I have done.
Yes, that was incredible. I put that up on as part of the thumbnail because
Yes.
my God, that's a great way to quantify the progress.
But the point is, and in June, it will be 3 times around the earth at the equator.
Wow.
The experience taught me 3 things. First of all, I'm a very confident guy. I've always been confident. I've always been successful. When I applied myself, the experience of losing this weight, keeping it off, and turning into a walking demon blew my mind. I exceeded what I thought I could do.
And put a lot of emphasis on mindset. What is it that you did differently as far as your mindset that helped you be resistant to temptations and to falling back into old ways?
Okay. It's one of what I call the 4 factors. Commitment. Number 19, commitment. I sat there, I made a decision one time. See, the problem is when you're not committed, every single time they slide those chips in front of you, you have to make another decision. Am I going to eat this or am I not going to eat this? Well, I made a decision many years ago. I wasn't tempted. I wasn't even tempted to eat it. That's how much it's a mind game. It's being prepared in advance, being committed. It's also tied in with number 18, discipline, self-discipline. And what I mean by self-discipline is eliminating your old negative habits, forming new positive habits. It all falls back to believing you can do it. I'm more powerful than I ever imagined. You have to be willing to make permanent changes in your life. I made a conscious decision many years ago that unhealthy food is not going to enter my mouth. I made a conscious decision many years ago that I am going to walk every day. In the last 12 years, I have walked every single day, at least 2 or more hours a day.
Oh, 2 or more hours.
Except for 3 days when I was sick.
Wow.
I ate and I was sick as a dog for 3 days. And if you would have told me that would have interrupted my 12-year streak, I would have gotten out of bed and I would have walked in.
You don't have to drink alcohol, but you do have to eat. And that's, that's one of the biggest struggles because
eat something healthy. I didn't make a commitment to not eat food ever again. I made a commitment to not eat garbage ever again. Narrowing down what you were committing to. Just say, I'm only going to eat healthy food and I'm going to enjoy it. What is the purpose of the food you eat? Let me ask you that question. What is the purpose?
Oh, sure. Yeah. On a fundamental level, it's just to sustain my existence.
However, we live in a society that teaches us the primary purpose of food is to socialize, to give you something to do when you're lonely, when you're tired, when you're angry, when you're in a bad mood, to make you feel better. I have a thing that I call not on purpose eating, NOPE. I call it the nope point. When you reach the point where what you're sticking in your mouth is not on purpose, don't eat it. Primary purpose is to fuel your body, not to satisfy you. If you quit drinking and you quit smoking, learning to eat properly, that's a piece of cake.
You would think so.
It is.
It's perplexing to me, Stanley. Yeah, it's because, like I said, the things that I used to quit those things don't work when it comes to food, not at all. And I don't have it figured out. I've even read books on it.
I have a chart. I have a chart I need to mail you. It's called Not on Purpose Eating. I will email that to you. And it's all on my website, from my weight loss website. All that stuff is there. But
you produced thank you for bringing that up. I wanted to get into that. You produced a lot of books, Stanley. When I was on the site, I thought, my goodness, there was an immense amount of material there. How do you, is that a part of your day where you put so much time into writing?
And time into one of them. I'm on a mission. That was the second thing I learned out of the whole experience. Okay. The first thing was I'm more powerful than I ever imagined. The third thing was, so is everybody else. The second thing I learned was, if I'm capable of doing this, what else is out there waiting for me to do that I haven't done yet? Okay. I'm 66 years old. I have no debt. I could retire right now. I don't have to work. I'm working because I want to work. I choose to work. This is what I want to do. I'm convinced that all the experiences I went through, and I do not regret any of them. Now, it's not to say I wouldn't do some things differently, but those experiences were necessary for me to learn what I have learned and to become the person I am today. And I like what I have learned, and I like the person I am today. And I have made it my mission to help other people learn what I have learned and to help get their lives in order. It's what I'm here for. And it's what I do. It's what floats my boat. It's what makes my socks roll up and down. It makes me happy. So that's why I produce all that material. And I've done 3 things with that material. I I put it all out there because not everybody has money, not everybody wants to spend money, but we all need help. So I put it out there. It's there for free. Somebody can get it for free. They can take care of themselves for free. Or they can contact me with the link at the bottom of the website. They can say they want to work with me privately, or they can say they want to join a group that I put together, work together as a group. The working with me privately, going to group, those cost money. Downloading the stuff for free on the website, that's free. It is my gift to you because I am grateful for what I have and for what I have done. And I feel it is my privilege, not my obligation. It is my privilege to give back.
No, that's a great approach, Stanley.
And I wish
I'm
more
sorry.
people would take that. I wish more people would take an approach like that. But go ahead.
And at the core of that, Stanley, you have a concept called the way of excellence. Can you
Mhm.
encapsulate that for us and give us a short idea of what that?
Okay. Well, as I was going through this whole thing, I'm a systems thinker. I've always been a systems thinker. And I was going through, I asked myself, and the funny thing was I was a perfectionist also. I was a 367-pound perfectionist. Now tell me there's not something a little bit off with that. I think I was a hypocrite. But I started saying perfection's not the way to go. The goal is not perfection. The goal is excellence. And the difference is perfection is somewhere you're never going to reach. Um, and it's at the top. You're never going to reach it. None of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. No one listening is perfect. You're not gonna be the first person who's perfect. You're not gonna get there. Excellence, on the other hand, is just getting better and better and better and better. So I said, I'm gonna go for excellence. And then I said, what are the qualities of an excellent human being? And the list evolved. It started out with 14, then it became 15, then it became 20. But it was and it stopped at 20. Because what would happen is I'd come up with a list and then I'd start working with it and I'll show, oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. So it became 20. And I broke those down into subparts. Think of marketing 101. They tell you, tell someone what the problem is, give someone a solution, and then tell them how they'll benefit if they implement your solution. So every single one of those 20 concepts has a statement of the problem, a a proposed solution, and a benefit from implementing the solution. So you've got so that that turns into a whole big old chart like this, which is on the website, and it's also the big versions on the wall behind me. I mean, that's to show you how big that is. That's 5 feet wide poster on the wall behind me. It's big. It took two people to hang it. Uh, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, and you started off with a great point on that, that there's a lot of bad information out there. There's influencers, and I didn't understand this until I became a YouTuber that, and I've seen it recommended on some of the forums that to take a counter approach. So, in other words, if the prevailing wisdom is X and you want to grow as a YouTuber, you've got to start talking about why. In other words, even things that don't work, they say, stop doing this one thing, and it's the one thing that's working for everybody. So people are actually intentionally putting bad information out there, which it shocked me because I'm a fraud investigator, so I shouldn't really be naive. But I was shocked that a lot of people grow their channels based on pushing against what is known to work just so that they can separate themselves from the herd. So if you had a magic wand and could wipe out any of the bad advice out there that's coming from these health and exercise influencers, what would one misconception that you would zap away?
Well, several of them. I saw an article the other day that said, how much walking should you do to lose 20 pounds? The answer is the walking's not going to take up the 20 pounds. First thing, you cannot exercise your way out of a poor diet.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
You can't.
The bodybuilders say abs are made in the kitchen,
Yeah,
which I love that
you,
phrase
you,
too.
you cannot exercise your way out of a poor diet. It's both. Um, Second thing is there's a big argument between whether animal products are good, animal products are bad, dairy is good, dairy's bad. I happen to, speaking as a person whose father was a butcher, who grew up in a house with unlimited meat, um, and going through the whole phase of life, I'm a believer in vegan, whole food, plant-based, none of this processed stuff, whole foods, plants, that nuts, seeds, grains, that type of thing. But I realize that's not what everyone wants to do. It's not for everyone. So what I tell people instead is the less meat you eat, the better. The less dairy you eat, the better. But you don't have to do what I do. The world already has one Stanley. It does not have to have another. What it wants is the best you. So many people, they give they give advice that is based upon what they think people will swallow, not based upon what they should hear, if that makes sense. They like, for example, I will tell someone, I think, I think you should stop eating meat. And I think you should stop eating dairy. However, I will say you don't have to do it immediately. I didn't do it immediately. It took me many years to do it. And I did it in phases. And you don't have, and if you never do it at all, that's fine. But I tell them the less of it you eat, the better you will be. And I, but I don't sit there and say, oh, you're fine. Eat more of it, eat more of it, eat more of it, eat more of it, just because that's what they want to hear. People need to be told the truth. All of us, just like on that day, February 1st, 2009, I told myself the truth. And the truth was I was committing slow-acide. I was eating myself to death. And I needed to tell myself that. Just like you say in the 12-step programs. You obviously had a reckoning where you said, this drinking's not working for me. And it's not getting me where I want. And you hit some kind of a rock bottom. It may not, hopefully it wasn't too rock bottom. But
Thank goodness it wasn't. Yeah. Compared
yeah,
to everybody
yeah,
else in my personal.
yeah.
Is there anything that you would tell yourself if you could send a letter back to yourself 17 years ago? Anything that would make the journey a little bit more fun or a little bit easier?
First of all, if you look at the first book on my website, it's called The Way of Excellence Journal. It says, this is the book I wished I gave myself many years ago. So I did essentially write myself a letter. The answer is you can do it. Stop screwing around. Stop wasting your time. Go for it because you're going to have so much fun once you do it.
But science backs you up, Stanley, because I've read a lot of books by ultra marathoners, and the guys that are at the elite level, all either vegans or they're doing some version of paleo. Nobody's out there eating Domino's pizzas.
I have over the last 17 years, I have walked 106 marathons over the last 17 years because I can. And I want to see what I can. I'm 66. I want to see what I can do. Change what you eat and you will perform.
Well, let's make sure that we direct everybody to the right place. Thewayofexcellence.com.
The Way of Excellence is my whole system. And all this stuff's there for free. PoundWeightLossChallenge.com. You have to create an account because I want it to be a safe space. The last thing I wanted was create a place for trolls where they could go troll a bunch of overweight people.
I appreciate that, Stanley. Final word.
I want to see what you do. I appreciate what you're doing, Robert. I think you're doing great work. I like your attitude.
Thank you so much.
I like the fact that you're giving back. This is all good. This is what it's supposed to be about, people. Can you imagine what the world would be if we all started helping each other?
That's right.
Let's
Let's mention how we linked up to really quick. We're both members of Podmatch. I think it's a fantastic service. I encourage a lot of people to start their story, start their podcast, get their message out there like you did.